So on this video, we're going to talk about how I painted this scene here, and it's very loose, very impressionistic, and it has a lot of light in it. And the reason for that is contrast. And what I want to talk about is the drawing that we started this demo when I painted it with a very accurate drawing. And it depends on your skill set whether that's important or not. That I provided a traceable, so it covers a wide range of students who perhaps are not confident to draw with the paintbrush. There will be times where there will be plenty of you who are great draftsmen who could paint something like this without starting with the drawing and go straight in with the paint, and because you understand that painting is just drawing with the paintbrush. But those of you perhaps are a beginner or have not necessarily honed your drawing skills, to allow you to paint confidently, you're going to need an accurate drawing. So you need to decide your skill level to which way you go. And you can still paint loose with a very tight under drawing. If anything, it will allow you to paint loose because you know where you're putting that bit of paint is in the right place. So my advice is have a good skeleton before you start, and set yourself up for success. Have plenty of paint put out on your palette. As you can see, I've got there, and mine's mixed slightly with a little bit of linseed oil, so it's nice and buttery, so it goes on the canvas nicely. I've got videos on my website on how I do that, and I put all that paint back into a jar afterwards, so it's not wasted. But there's nothing worse than having a tiny little pea-sized bit of paint and you're just running out all the time, and it just slows your progress and takes away that confident brush mark. And also plenty of brushes out. Again, I don't wash my brushes after every session. I leave them in oils between sessions. Again, I've got details about that on my website. So you want to make it as easy as possible for yourself when you come to paint, because it's just going to encourage those loose impressionistic brush marks. And then when it comes to the painting itself, that we're just painting shapes. And if you look at the little calf here off in the distance, it's done with a few brush marks, and you don't have to be an expert draftsman to paint shapes. You know, we're quite good as humans of recognizing simple shapes like that. And even if you get that simple shape slightly wrong, it probably isn't going to be a huge problem, unless you're doing a portrait of a person, and you know, then we've got issues. But something like this, you know, you've got a bit of a leeway to get a few things wrong, and you'll get the overall impression. So forget detail. You know, we're not painting eyes, nose, ears and so on. We're painting light, so the light hitting the side of the calf, the area that's in the shade, and we're letting it build up slowly. And it is a bit like that. They just appear by magic, and until you do it, you can't imagine it. And I was the same, and it was only when I actually did try and I realized that's how to do it, is just to paint the shapes, make sure you get the right colour, the right tonal value. Colour not overly important, but tone value is. And you can see here, again, tonal value working contrast. As soon as we put that dark background in against the lighter values of the light hitting those cows, it just comes to life. Same with the foreground. Edges, you know, we've got a lot of soft edges in that foreground at the moment, but we'll come back in and put some harder edges in. The trees, again, just like the cows, just paint shapes. I'm not painting individual leaves. Maybe towards the end I might put one or two suggestions of a branch and a leaf catching a light or something. And this was about an hour into the painting. So again, this was quite a long demo. The full demo is available on my website with the commentary as I was painting. But after an hour into it, I start to put the detail in now. I think it's a good idea to cover the canvas, make sure everything's in the right place. And at this point, I took a break. This was done on a live stream, so an hour into it, that was enough, and I finished it the following day. And that's something I'm going to do more and more, that I'm going slightly more detailed. I still want to be impressionistic, but not necessarily sticking to an hour to get the painting finished on the live stream. That you know, we can do it over 2 stages. I shared the whole thing on the membership site anyway, so you can watch it from start to finish on there. But my thinking is that I'm certainly, after an hour into painting, I'm not as fresh as I was when I first started painting, so I tend to start making a few mistakes and not looking at the shapes tonal values and colours as deeply as I was when I started. So by starting the next day with fresh eyes, you're in that same position and you'll get a better painting. And I think I have got a better painting by doing that. So it's working smart. Yes, we're eager. We want to get the painting finished, but we want to do it the right way. So again, I'm just going back. I've covered the canvas in the first hour. So the second hour was basically just going in, refining, adding a few bits of detail. Quite often I would have lost the dark where I had a dark. So I put that back in, check that I've got the right shape, a bit of light here. Obviously, we don't have to stick to our reference image completely. That if we think we can improve something by adding a bit of light here or making this area dark, we can do that. And although I started on a white canvas, we could have done this on a toned canvas just as easy. I quite often start on a white canvas if I want to perhaps have the light, the white coming through the paint, which perhaps on this scene worked quite well. But there are advantages to working with a toned canvas because you can see the values easier. But if you're checking the values and the colours on the reference image like I do on my demos, it really doesn't matter whether you're on a white or a toned canvas. But the big one here is no blending, because you're putting the right shape, the right colour and right tone of value in the right place. By blending, you just undo all that good work and you just won't get the same result. And go at it confidently, and you'll go at it confidently if you're checking those values and the colours and you've got the right paint on that brush when you put it down. If you can't say to yourself, yeah, this is definitely the colour, the tonal value, you probably shouldn't put that paint down on the canvas, because it's most likely going to be wrong and you're going to have to go back and fix it. And fixing things are what destroys the freshness of paintings. So it takes a bit of time to check the paint on your brush, but it's it becomes second nature eventually. I do it automatically now, and I'm sure a lot of the members who have been with me for a while now do it automatically. And if you start with a fairly limited palette, it gets a lot, it's a lot easier to start with because there's less choices. And also I've got videos where I go more in depth on mixing colours, but this video really was more about painting shapes, the drawing part of it, and that is drawing. Painting shapes is drawing basically. But as you can see, it's all starting to come together. The final bit there was putting the sky in and just a few little bits here and there. I find putting the sky in towards the end works better because you're painting in between the shapes of the tree. It can be a bit tricky not to sort of muddy up that sky, but that's again why I have lots of brushes on the go, that as soon as my brush becomes a bit messy with the other paints on there, I just use a different one. But you're painting more abstract shapes between the trees, so that I think works quite well. I suppose it's tricky to know when to stop. That painting's good fun, and you just want to keep making it better and better. But there's a lot, particularly when if you film your painting, you'll be frustrated because you'll see a stage where I think I should have just stopped there, but I just kept going for some reason. But just be conscious of that. That take regular breaks. Look at your painting from a distance, and if you're sort of looking at it and thinking, what else can I do to improve that? You're probably almost done. Definitely that shadow in the foreground, darkening that, I think that improved it. It gave it more light. Let's say the contrast. It's not just about painting the light, it's about painting the darks as well, that they work together. And the same, the main light is on that white cowl against the dark cowl next to it, so that's where our strong contrast is. But if we put light all over the painting, it would lose its effect. So just because it looks good doesn't mean you should put it everywhere. The same with the leaves. Just a few leaves catching the light, is great. But if you painted every leaf, catching light, it's not going to be so good. So that's how we painted that scene. The initial reference looked, really complicated, and the cows. But when they're all huddled together like that, you can get away with a great deal. As long as you get one or two of the cows' shapes looking good, the viewer's eye will fill in the rest. So that was the painting after the first hour or so, and the following day we brought it to a finish, and we didn't add a lot really. That a little bit more care taken over the shapes on the cows, but still I wanted to retain that painterly look. I did paint the sky in the end. I thought I'd probably wait for it to dry, but there wasn't a lot to add, and I did soften that misty background a little bit and just added a slightly lighter tone on the left. and I made the shadows a little bit darker there and a few little flicks of the grass, but it's all just an impression. I really wanted to concentrate on the overall scene rather than the individual elements in the painting. It's a scene about light. So quite pleased how it all turned out. It was a nice reference to work from. So good luck if you decide to give it a go, and on to the next one. There you go. Good luck with your painting. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, you'll love this one.